here's my story from military to entrepreneurship and all the things I wish I had known before I embarked on this journey. Bottom line, it hasn't been straight. It's been all up and down. It's been wild. Grew up in northern Michigan, graduated high school 2004, then went to West Point, graduated West Point 2009, was on active duty until 2021. Had a couple years where it overlapped kind of full-time Army, full-time entrepreneur. And then throughout all of my Army career, I always had side hustles. And now live in Tampa, full-time entrepreneur. This is what that looks like and what I learned. Okay, so active duty Army officer, field artillery, spent a lot of time at Fort Sill, then Fort Carson, Wisconsin for recruiting duty. My last duty station was teaching at West Point. Side hustles during that time. Lots of real estate. We always kind of bought the worst house in the nicest neighborhood, fixed it up, and then kept it as a rental or flipped it. Also did a lot of woodworking, did a lot of trading up and down flea market type style. I love the Army. Loved everything about it. My time as a lieutenant, as a captain, as a major was a lot of fun. But family was growing. I got less excited about the military assignments I had in front of me and realized it was time to focus full-time on real estate. So started doing that. My real estate investing journey. It started with live and flips using VA loans, very low risk. We'd PCS to a location. We would buy a house. We would fix it up. And but at that point, we're easily hitting the 1% rule, maybe 1.5% rule. With the VA loan, no money down. I mean, it was great. But during 2020, me and some friends got together and said, hey, let's put our money together and start doing this together. Before you know it, COVID happened, 2020, COVID, people for the first time ever were willing to buy or sell houses over the phone. So we would call people and they would sell us their house. We didn't have to go in person to meet them, and they would sell us the house. So we started contacting landlords, primarily out of area landlords all throughout the Southeast. So we would find that data on PropStream. We would call them, text them, email them, and say, are you interested in selling your house? As soon as we figured out how to do that, we hired offshore team members in Pakistan and Philippines to help us. Over a couple years, we did 200 houses, wholesales, and flips. At the biggest, I think our team was about 40 people. Sustainable pace is 0. It was crazy. You could have huge months. We never had 100K month, but we had big months, like 50, 60, 70K. But the problem is we would put out 30K in marketing. And if you had a good month, you would get 60K back. But if you had a bad month, you'd get 0K back. And then we had payroll and stuff too. So I think my biggest lesson here is understanding kind of risk reward, understanding profit margin. We were making large sums of money, but our profit margin was pretty tight, which made it just kind of a high risk endeavor. And then the market started to change. But then would I ever go back to this, right? Or if you were thinking about wholesaling, flipping houses, would I go back to this? I think it's doable. I think you want to keep your costs super, super tight. Be really careful with any high dollar marketing spend. All of these things I've ever done, I think we've given more money to Facebook and Google than anything else. So anytime you're spending money on Facebook and Google, always be careful. And then flipping houses, wholesaling houses is great. But when you try to scale it, or when you try to find deals when there aren't a lot of deals to be had, you're going to burn out and you can lose a lot of money. So you have to be careful. Next one. So we're doing well with storage facilities, but we're doing well with single family, but realize that's a really tough way to make a living. So we said, hey, we know real estate, we know how to add value, we know how to work with investors and raise money, and let's try storage facilities. So we shifted to storage facilities. First facility we bought for $1.4 million, sold for $2.3 million just over a year later. So it was great. Investors were happy. We were happy. The bank was happy. Everything was good. We bought another 8 or 9 facilities, and we still own those. Why? Interest rates changed. The market has changed. So we had this business plan where we could buy a storage facility that's charging $70, raise rents to $100, and then because commercial real estate is valued off that number, we'd be able to sell off that new $100 rate we were charging everybody and make a bunch of money. And it was great. But then with interest rates going up, people stopped buying storage facilities. So we couldn't sell storage facilities. Also meant people were buying less houses. So if people are buying less houses, that means your rates and your occupancy go down. So we still own 8 storage facilities that's still managed by mostly our offshore team in the Philippines and Pakistan. It's still a great business, but it's been really slow for a couple years. What I learned about commercial real estate or any kind of buy and hold real estate is a great way to make wealth or to build wealth, a tough way to make cash in the short term. Okay. So when you're thinking about buy and hold real estate, look at it as long-term investments. And if you need that money in the short term, it's really, really difficult. So as I think of commercial real estate now, I look at creating cash flows to live on and to reinvest in other areas, but then using commercial real estate and real estate overall as long-term investments. As long as you're looking at them at long-term investments, I think it can be good. Commercial cleaning business. I have a buddy who owns a commercial cleaning business. He, we talked enough about sales and business development, so he decided to bring me in and help his business. Over time, he made me a partner and general manager of this commercial cleaning company. What I learned about commercial cleaning business is, it's a very well-established business or very well-established market, meaning you can try to use technology, but your technologies might save you, a point or two, right? Might create another 1 to 2 percentage points of revenue. Taking your staff and offshoring some of your staff is going to save you, maybe 5%, right? Depending on what that cost is, you can save some money there. You can come up with better flyers. You can come up with better marketing strategies. You can do all kinds of things, but ultimately what you have to realize is commercial cleaning is a very established business. So a lot of things have been tried before. A lot of people in that industry are old school. So if you try to present them with something new and crazy and, hey, we'll include this and this and this and this, it's not going to work. Okay. So I love commercial cleaning. Here's my overall thoughts on commercial cleaning. There's only 2 ways to grow a commercial cleaning company. It takes time or it takes money. Okay. If you want a bunch of leads, it's going to take time to just have those referrals and those leads come back, or you have to spend money on marketing. Most commercial cleaning businesses do not realize how much they have to spend on marketing, a lot more than they would think. Okay. So then if you've got marketing, and if you can save a couple points on marketing, and then you have sales, and if you can have an awesome salesperson that has the right incentive compensation, you can save a couple points there. And then if you can think of kind of like operations fulfillment, so you can do a really good job there, make sure your wages are right where they need to be. You can save a couple points there. You can make sure that you have renewals and increases built into your contracts. So maybe you can save a couple points there. But ultimately, like all these commercial cleaning companies are operating like exactly the same. Unless you're really good, then you're going to save a couple points at each of those. Maybe you can make your margin a little bit better. That's how to run a great commercial cleaning company. And then if you want to grow a great commercial cleaning company fast, you either have to spend a bunch of money on marketing, or you just have to be patient. So love commercial cleaning, but those are my biggest lessons there. How about a lead gen business? So then we started a lead gen business. I'm good at lead gen. My team is good at lead generation. We said, hey, let's do outsourced business development. We're good at developing cold call centers. We're good at running Facebook ads and SEO and Google ads and putting it all, direct mail, putting it all together, cold calling to do it. We've done lead generation for a bunch of businesses. It works. It works well. The problem with being a lead generation business is you can get new clients quickly. Okay. People want you to solve their lead generation problems. Okay. But you get a quick yes, and then you get a quick no. Okay. Meaning people are quick to hire you, but they're also quick to fire you. Okay. Ultimately, if I was to stay in the lead generation business, I would only sign people up for 6 months or more, or at least try to give them a deal if they signed up for 6 months or 4 months or 2 months, because your churn in lead generation is going to be really high. People will churn so fast in the lead generation business. There's a lot of people that do this, and they do it at a high level. I realized I want my businesses, the businesses that I'm dealing with on a daily basis, I want to have relationships with my clients where it's a partnership and we feel like we're both making each other better. In lead generation businesses, it's all often like an adversarial relationship where they're like, you better get me leads or I'm going to fire you. You better get me cheaper, more leads, or I'm going to fire you. And I hated that dynamic. So although we made money there and we grew it, we've pivoted to realize like, hey, that's not the type of business we really want to grow. So where are we now? Now we're doing more and more staffing, basically through the commercial, the real estate, single family real estate, the commercial real estate, commercial cleaning, lead gen. We've used offshore talent for all those in Philippines, Pakistan, Latin America, Nigeria, South Africa, Egypt, everywhere in between. And during that time, for years, buddies basically have been coming to me and be like, hey, where do you get your virtual assistants? Hey, how do you do this? How do you do that? And we've helped them. Last year we started, people were coming to us and we actually started monetizing that and doing staffing for people. Still though, just friends. We did staffing for friends, and we basically got to the end of 2024 and we said, all right, where do we go for 2025? And we said, hey, we made as much or more money in staffing. It is the best place of our businesses for, what we enjoy doing, what we're good at. Why do we keep trying to do all these other things? Maybe we should just double down on staffing. So still learning all the ins and outs of staffing and what's good about it and what's bad about it. But so far we've helped out a bunch of businesses. We're putting offshore talent into businesses on a near daily basis. The relationships we have with our clients is really good. We can basically say, hey, we would charge you, let's say $2,500 for lead generation. If we manage it, how about you manage it? And we're most of the time under $2,000 for that. So they're saving money, have more control as well. What I learned, biggest takeaways from staffing is, I think right now for staffing, we're trying to figure out how does lead gen work for staffing. Are we doing Facebook ads? Are we cold calling? Are we doing referrals and social media? We're doing all that right now. We're trying to decide which one is the best ROI. So here are my biggest takeaways. Embrace the journey. If you get out of the military and think you're going to be an entrepreneur and think like, hey, I'm going to do this and this is how it's going to go, I would just say it's a journey. There's a lot of ups and downs. Maybe if you just go entrepreneurship through acquisition, you buy a business, sure, maybe it'll be a linear path for you. But if you're doing something like I am, where like, hey, I'm just trying to put food on the table, just trying to, figure out my place in this entrepreneurial journey. It's not going to be a straight line. Expect the pivots and be open to pivots. I think some people look at me and they're like, you got to stick with it. Like, no, man, I realize when things are going wrong and I pivot before we run out of money, before we get to the dead end. Okay. I like pivoting fast. Find your fit. I think lead gen is good, but I don't like that churn. I don't like getting fired all the time. Commercial cleaning is great, but sales cycle is very slow in commercial cleaning. I would prefer a faster sales cycle. So in the commercial cleaning business, we've actually hired a sales guy that is a better fit for that sales cycle. And I'm no longer in the day-to-day business development there. And then just keep exploring, right? Like right now we're doing staffing. We've done real estate, commercial cleaning, staffing. I think these are all, older, very established markets. Where are we going? I think there's a huge opportunity with AI and automation and some of that stuff. We're not doing any of those businesses right now, but I could see us leaning that way in the future, maybe taking some automations like Zapier and Make and figuring out how to apply them to real estate investors or real estate agents or commercial brokers. There's some opportunities there as well. And I think that's my last slide. So, hey, if you want more info, click one of the links below and you can get on our email list and go from there. Thanks for watching. Thanks.